Viewer discretion is advised. Viewer discretion is advised. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's going on, everybody? This is Andrew. Follow me on Instagram at Andrew the Filmmaker. I'm here to talk about the new Hellraiser movie, Hellraiser Judgment. I just watched it. There's a lot to talk about. There are so many things for you to see. It's been 7 years since Hellraiser Revelations came out. Remember that? Remember Revelations? Now we got Hellraiser Judgment, which is directed by Gary J. Tunnicliffe. If I pronounced your name wrong, I am so sorry. I actually had to look up how to say that. Which is interesting about him is he's a makeup special effects artist, and he worked on previous Hellraiser films like Hell on Earth and a few other ones. So we start off the movie. Pinhead's chilling in hell, playing with his boxes like he always does. Pinhead was not played by Doug Bradley in this movie. He was actually played by Paul T. Taylor, yeah. He was played by Paul T. Taylor in this movie. And it was funny because when I originally started watching it, I kind of like chimed out of my head that it wasn't Doug Bradley. So when I first saw Paul as Pinhead, they had this really beautiful scene. It was like half of his face was like dark, and it was just like the hair light was just like illuminating the back of him. He really did embody Pinhead to me, and I got it. I believed it. Some of y'all may argue with me about that because, you know, if it's not Doug Bradley, people don't want to hear about it. But I gave this guy a chance, and he was pretty decent. So he's sitting in hell, he's playing with his boxes, and he's talking to the guy called the Auditor, who is a member of this group, this subdivision of hell called the Stingent Inquisition. Stingent Inquisition. This is so hard for me to say. But, so it's like this, like, subdivision of hell that, you know, like, hell's all these different places. I mean, if you saw Hellraiser 2, Hellbound, you know, there was like, hell's this giant frickin' place. You know, it's not just Pinhead and his like army of Cenobites. They're not the only people that are torturing people. There's like tons of people in hell torturing people. But the Auditor himself was played by Gary J. Tunnicliffe, the guy who wrote and directed the movie. So for any of y'all who have ever said to me you can't direct and star in your own movies, bullshit. You can. So Pinhead and the Auditor are sitting there talking about like how we need to get more souls, like we need to get more people down here to torture the shit out of them. And the Auditor's like, oh, I got you, Pinhead. Like, you know, stay, chill for a second. I'll be right back. So it starts off where there's this guy. The guy's name is Carl Watkins, right? So he's talking to the Auditor, and the Auditor's like, tell me the truth, dude. What'd you do back in the day? He gives a date and everything, and the guy's like, what are you talking about? How'd you know about that? And the Auditor's like, bitch, don't bullshit me, like, you're fucked, let's just get this shit over with. So Carl just admits that, you know, he was a child molester or whatever, you know. So the Auditor's like, alright, cool, types up, he's got this, like, typewriter that's, like, there's, like, a needle inside his skin, so the blood, the ink is, like, his blood, you know, it's Hellraiser, some sick shit. So then he sends it to the Assessor. The Assessor is this, like, disgusting, gross, like, shirtless, fucking old fat guy who sits there. He brings out like these papers, and he has this little jar of children's tears, and he pours the tears on the paper and then starts eating. Like, I'm gagging thinking of it, because this is where this movie was really fucking good, because it was really gory and disgusting. Like, I had to look away at this part. He literally starts eating the paper, and he's like stuffing his face. That's just wet paper. Oh my god, I'm really getting sick thinking about it. And then he gets up and he starts puking. Whoever worked on the special effects for this movie, y'all deserve every single fucking award in the world for this, because that shit was so nasty. He pukes it out. And then the Auditor goes into this other room where there's these, like, 3 bitches who are, like, their faces are all messed up, but they're naked, and they stand in front of the trough, and I guess they're, like, the jury. That's what they're considered, the jury. And they stick their hand in, like, I can't even say it. They eat it. And then they look over at the Auditor and they go, so, you know, at this point, Carl's fucked. And the next part of the Stingent Inquisition is sending him to the cleaners, and the cleaners are literally these old fucking broads, and they strip you, and then they lick you clean, and that is not, like, a metaphor. They literally lick this bitch clean. And now he's, like, butt-ass naked, chilling on the... Like, it can't get any worse, you know? Might as well be naked. On another interesting note, you could also tell, like, when we were in hell, with Pinhead, because it would have like the classic like blue lighting around his head, and then when we were with the Stingent Inquisition, because it was more of like an indoor, like an orangey yellowish, you know, hint to the whole background, so you could like really tell when you were in the different parts of hell, you know. I mean, neither one was better than the other one, honestly. You were fucked either way, but it was just interesting that that's how the director chose to portray the different parts of hell. So that was really good in my point. So then after the cleaners, Carl gets to meet the butcher and the surgeon. And the butcher was this really big, fat butcher, you know? And then he walks up to Carl, he turns around, and then this little mini gimp, I guess which was the surgeon, pops up, and then she just starts fucking Carl up, slashing him this, that, and the third. After he's done, she rips off his skin. The jury comes in. They sit there and they bathe in the blood. You know, it's a whole bunch of beautiful, sick shit. And I loved every minute of it. I don't know about y'all, but this was beautiful to me. And then that was the opening scene. All that was just the opening scene. Like, that was awesome. You know, like, you have a whole movie afterwards. But, in my opinion, the rest of the movie, I mean, the opening scene really was the best part of the movie, I'm not gonna lie. Because then, now we get to meet the two detectives and two brothers, Sean and David. They're detectives and they're partners. They're investigating the serial killer who's been doing murders based off of the Ten Commandments, and I'm like, oh my god, haven't we seen this already? Wasn't this the same thing that happened in American Horror Story? What was that? That was the hotel season. And then they meet up with this really hot other detective. What was her name? Edgerton. So she was cool, you know, she was just like, hey, what's up guys, I'm gonna join y'all because I'm interested in this. They said, I guess, yeah, come along, you know, if you want. It's America, we ain't gonna stop you. But, but then it was kind of like, this whole police investigation plot didn't, what was it? I think it was like Hellseeker. There was the one with Ashley Lawrence. Was it Hellseeker or was it Inferno? It might have been Inferno, if I'm not mistaken. It was like the same kind of plot, you know, then the police investigator, he's looking into these crimes, and then he gets himself into some shit he shouldn't have got himself into. So there's a connection that leads the investigation to the disappearance of Carl Watkins. So they go to his apartment. And then, oh my god, so the landlady, surprise, surprise, it's Heather Langenkamp from fucking A Nightmare on Elm Street. I was geeking out. I was like, oh my god. She came in, smoking her cigarettes, this like stereotypical landlady, you know, damn well she's got 10 cats in that damn apartment. She was like, he ain't paid his rent in 2 months, and when I see that bitch, he gonna get slapped. So they find in Carl's apartment that there's the address, the 55, what was it? It was like 55 something place. So Sean decides to go investigate. He knocks on the door, and the same thing that happened to Carl in the beginning of the movie happens to him. He loses consciousness. And then he wakes up, and then he wakes up, same situation as Carl. He wakes up in front of the auditor. Auditor's typing away. You know, the auditor keeps telling him, so like, when was the first time you ever hurt something? And he like just admits everything. He's like, the first time you ever shot something, the first time you ever killed somebody. Mind you, this guy's a detective. He's killed a lot of people in his life. Well, too many damn people. He sees the assessor. The assessor starts eating, but then he starts like puking out blood. Like, not like puke like how it was for Carl. Like, this, it's really like graphic this time. Like, he's just like, oh my god, you know, like this shit is not good. Like, you know, he's like puking out blood. He pukes it out, and then the jury, they start reading it, and then they're bleeding too. They're like, oh my god, you know, this is absolutely crazy. What's going on? So as they prepare the verdict for Sean, this angel appears, and the angel's supposed to portray Jophiel, you know, the angel from, I don't know. I don't even know how to say these damn names, let alone the history of angels and demons and shit like that. But it's just this basic, you know, it's this actress, she's beautiful, she's blonde, she's got this cute little like white suit, like white, you know, corporate suit on. She goes up to the auditor and she's like, nah, you need to let him go. She's like, he's innocent. And the auditor's like, bitch, no, he's not. He just admitted that he killed people. And she's like, no, like, you need to let him go, like, let him go. So he does. And then Sean wakes up. And he's like, oh my god, what the hell just happened? You know, like, that was crazy. Is that in my imagination? Am I losing my shit now? So, you know, instead of minding your own business, of course, he's gotta frickin' dig deeper into what the heck just happened. He's, like, losing his shit. Tries to have sex with his wife, and then he pictures these two, like, the twins. The twins are, like, the twin Cenobites. Yeah, there's the two, like, crazy, deranged-looking Cenobite chicks. He's picturing them, you know, when he's having sex with his wife. He's going mentally crazy, you know? And I'm like, didn't this happen in another Hellraiser movie too? Oh, and I forgot to mention, before Sean leaves, because he actually escaped the house where the Stingent Inquisition is, he took one of the puzzle boxes. So Pinhead was like, well, he took one of the puzzle boxes. He gonna be back. Curiosity killed the cat. He gonna be back. There ain't no worried about. I'm not worried. He gonna come back. Edgerton and David, his brother, they were sitting there. You know, they're still trying to solve the case. And the name of the killer that they're looking for is called the Preceptor. All right, so keep that in your mind. That was the name of I forgot to mention that. His name is the Preceptor. That's the murderer that they're looking for. So then they finally get access to a cell phone that was stored in one of the bodies of one of the Preceptor's victims. The cell phone has a GPS on it with a location. So it leads them to this like abandoned warehouse type of joint, which turns out to be the Preceptor's hideout. And then you know it's the hideout because like the wall is covered with the pictures of all the victims. Then the last picture is covered. So Sean takes off the cloth of the last picture, and then it's a picture of his brother David and his wife together in bed. So Edgerton looks up, she goes, holy shit. Sean knocks her out, she falls to the ground, like, and he starts like really brutally like beating her, like you think she's dead. Gets to that. So then David tries to come to the rescue because he's a great detective. So then he walks up in there, Sean, you know, gets him in the corner with his gun. You find out David's, if you didn't get that already, David's the Preceptor. He's the killer. It's the same thing like freaking American Horror Story. You remember when the detective, he was looking for the killer, but he was the killer the whole time? It's the same thing. See, the mid-plot of this movie was just the only thing that I'm really going to critique about it. If it wasn't for that beginning scene and how beautiful these special effects were and the makeup was, and the acting was okay, like, I'm not going to hate on it. You know, the people were kind of cute, too. Both the guys were kind of cute. But that's just me. But if it wasn't for that, this would have been a dud. But the plot itself, it was a merit plot. It was like okay, we've seen it. We've seen this movie. We know how it's going to end type of plot. So then David now has Sean, Sean now has David on the ground, and then he decides to call his wife. Here comes the wife, and then David looks at the wife like, oh shit. The wife looks at David like, oh shit. They look at the picture on the wall, them sleeping together. They're both looking at each other like, oh shit. He knows. Oh fuck, we're fucked. And he's the Preceptor. We're fucked. We're totally fucked. So David's like, I'm not gonna kill it. No, I keep saying David, I'm sorry guys. Sean's like, I'm not gonna kill y'all, but here, play with this box. So he hands him the puzzle box. And you know, if you're a Hellraiser fan, you're just cracking up. You're like, oh, David. I keep saying David. So you, as a Hellraiser fan, you're cracking up. You're just like, oh, Sean, you're so sneaky. You know, you're like, oh, you guys are fine. I just want you to play with this box, you know? Yeah, have fun, kids. So they open the box, and then now they're in Pinhead's domain. The chains come down, the light comes, the light, you know, everything turns dark. It's, you know, you're a fan of Hellraiser, you know that these people are so screwed right now. So Sean tries to make a deal with Pinhead. He goes up to him, he goes, well, I know I got away the one time, but I knew eventually when I die, you're still gonna come for me because I'm the Preceptor, I've been killing people. You know, I'm a bad guy, I'm a murderer. So I brought you two people. Take their souls in exchange for mine. He's trying to pull the whole Ashley Lawrence, you know, what she tried to do in the first movie. You know, when she opened the box, she said, I'll give you my uncle in exchange for me. These bitches are always trying to make deals with Pinhead. Like, Pinhead he don't got time. He says, I'm gonna take all y'all are in hell right now, first of all. I'm gonna take every single one of you. I get paranoid. Anyway. So Pinhead's like, nah, man, no deal. He's like, but I brought them for you, but they opened the box. So Pinhead's like, don't worry, I'm gonna deal with them, but I'm gonna deal with you first, boo. So Pinhead takes down the chains, and Sean's like, you know, he's got them. You're like, oh, Sean, you fucked. You were so fucked. You thought you were gonna get away, but you thought wrong. You know, he's talking about like, bitch, I'm gonna torture you for the rest of your life. You're my bitch now. Daughter comes in like, oh, hey Sean, it's nice to see you. How you been? I told you you'd be back, and you back. But so before Sean was like, oh, but I got the box, and they were like, you're already in hell. That box ain't gonna do nothing now, boo. Have you not seen the movies? Are you not a fan? Do you not know how this works? You obviously don't, because your stupid ass summoned us. He's like, but I brought them. And then Pinhead's like, I'm gonna take them too. He goes, he takes David and his wife, and he sucks them into this dark hole. So, you know, they're fucked. So before he takes Sean away, the angel Jophiel comes back, and she's like, no, you need to let him go. And Pinhead's like, again, bitch. She's like, no, for real, like, let him go, because he has plans with him. He needs him, talking about God. And this is what I kind of like. This is the first time we ever saw, like, really got to mention, like, God and angels in the Hellraiser movie. And it was kind of interesting because they were kind of anti-heroes. You know how, like, well, obviously God and angels are supposed to be so good, but they were like, no, like, we need him out there to kill people, to instill the fear among man, so they can still fear for their lives and still be afraid of eternal damnation and death, so they can pray to God more. You know, she was like, it's yin and yang. Good cannot be without evil. Evil cannot be without good. So spare his life. And Pinhead was like, she was like, you need to send him back. She said, send him back. Because God said send him back, and you won't send him back. Don't piss me off. Yo, she had some balls on her. I said, you talking to Pinhead like that? Like, girl, if Pinhead was in a bad mood, he would just kill your ass real quick. He'd just be like, bitch, get out of my, you in my territory, bitch. She did not give a fuck. So she said, send him back. So Pinhead said, okay, cool. So he does. So Sean wakes up. He gets up. He turns around, and Edgerton is alive. She stands up, takes the gun, shoots him dead. So he ends up back in hell. So he ends up back in hell. And then, you know, and then he's back with the Stingent Inquisition at this point. You know, he's getting his just desserts now. Jophiel, she's pissed off. She looks at Pinhead. She said, you knew that was going to happen, did you? She was like, ooh, you going to piss off God. And Pinhead said, she was like, oh no, what she said to him? She said, you're going to suffer for this. Pinhead said, suffer? The fuck you know about suffering? I'm Pinhead, bitch. So he kills her. Yo. So then before she dies, she says the classic line from Hellraiser, Jesus wept before her skeleton falls out. It's bloody, it's beautiful. I was applauding. I'm into all this like shit, you know. I was all like, yay! Like, bravo, bravo, bravo. But she did warn Pinhead. She said, you know, you gonna kill me, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. But God gonna hear about this. He gonna know what you just did, and you gonna get your just, he gonna come for you. He gonna come for you. So Pinhead turns around, this giant white light, which I guess is supposed to be God, comes in, and he pretty much wakes up as a man, as a homeless man living in a box. And he starts screaming like, ah! I guess God sent him back to Earth. That's his punishment. He's like, okay, well, guess what? Since you want to have too much fun with all these torturings, we're going to send you back to Earth, and you're going to have to live with man now. You know, that for Pinhead is like total torture, because he's like, damn, I can't do anything, I have no power, I'm literally a homeless man living on the streets now. That's pretty much, you know, the end of the movie. After that, there was a post-credit scene at the end where they were in Germany, if I'm not kidding, and there was like a bunch of Mormons or some Christian missionaries, you know, they were going door to door, so they knocked on this one door, they were like, hello, or however you say hello in German, I don't speak German, but anyway, you know, and then they look inside, and then they get like hypnotized and start walking in. The auditor's in the other room, you know, it's so pretty much the Stingent Inquisition, they just take over, like, they don't have a specific hideout, you know, and you could go through any house and end up in their domain, which I thought was pretty scary. So this is why y'all should not go to no damn abandoned houses, and don't start knocking on no doors if you don't know where the hell you're going, because, you know, people always say, if you go out looking for something, you gonna find it. You gonna find it. So all in all, I really enjoyed the movie. One of the better sequels that we've had in a while, and it gave me what I wanted as in terms of gore and makeup and effects and all that. It was really good. There wasn't a lot of CGI that I could really like tell was like CGI, so I really appreciate this director for doing that for us. You know, I wish the plot was a little bit more, you know, original, but at the same time, for them to only be on that type of budget, which was only $350,000, they did a really good job in having all the cameos and and different directors playing different parts of it, and just seeing this whole different side of the Hellraiser universe that we don't really get to explain. We didn't have to focus on Pinhead as much. I thought that was really cool. So all in all, if you're a fan of the series, definitely go check it out. If you got a weak stomach, you might want to look away at some parts, because I've seen so many horror movies in my life, and for me to gag at that, it has to be something really fucking disgusting, and it really was gross. Like, I was gagging. Like, I was just gagging talking about it. It was disgusting. So it was effective. It was beautiful in that sense. Disgusting, scary, bloody, beautiful. The fuck is wrong with me? And if you guys are actually interested, there are a lot of different scenes that were cut out that I'm reading about right now that are kind of a lot more gory and disgusting. But he said he was trying to strive a way to not just be total horror porn. I wouldn't consider Judgment horror porn, because it was really beautifully made. Like, it was just enough horror and gore to get across the point, It's not like someone's masturbating in a pile of blood. That would be horror porn, And I am reading that the jury did not eat that the assessor was puking out. I thought they did. That's what made it more gross for me. But apparently that's what he originally wanted. But that's not what was portrayed in the movie. I don't know. I saw them eat it. You should definitely go check it out. Try to rent it. It'll probably be on TV in a year or so. If you're a fan of the series, go check it out. If you're a fan of anything horror, go check it out. It's definitely up there. It's not perfect, but it's definitely it's definitely on the better side of the horror movies I've seen so far this year than on the worst side, if you know what I'm talking about. And my opinion's so biased. I'm a huge fan of the original Hellraiser movies, so for us to finally have another sequel to join the family of Hellraiser, it's welcomed with open arms. All right. If you've seen the movie, if there's something I didn't touch base on, if there's something you really liked about the movie, comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you don't mind. You can follow me on Instagram at Andrew the Filmmaker. So thank you guys for watching, and until next time, I'll see ya.